It'll be 1 to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Carl, Dominique Fugere, Journal de Montréal. Speaking of Scott Speed, you alluded to him. I spoke to him on Friday, and he said, you know, this is not this hard. I'm not finding it really hard. There's only two corners to figure out every week. And, you know, I alluded to the fact that you might be going over for a Toyota test and Danica would be going over for a Honda test. And he said, they better forget it. I hope they get a test and a proper test just to see in one day that there's no way anyone from here can be able to, you know, get their place in Formula One. So I was wondering what was your take on that?
Well, it hurt my feelings, Scott. I'm sorry, but I'm just kidding. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to doing it. It's just going to be something to do. Just going to have some fun, go over there and take a vacation part of it. But, you know, he's got a rude awakening when he gets going a little bit further. You know, just because he won in his fifth start doesn't mean that it comes all that often. And, you know, people around the sport go years without winning. Sometimes they go 50, 80, however many races between wins. I mean, it's a hard sport. So he's probably pretty gratified that he won, and yet he probably doesn't know when his next one's going to come. And so we'll see. It's not as easy as it looks here, that's for sure, because you've got 43 of the best competitors in the whole world every weekend that are racing together, and it's obviously hard for a lot of them to make two corners and to figure out two different corners at a racetrack. But you know, hopefully I can have some fun and see what it's like and see what he experienced over there when he was there.
David Caravel, NASCAR.com. Kyle, this combination between you and Addington, you know, he talks about how he just lets you go. I mean, is there sort of a hands-off quality to the way he manages things that maybe you kind of thrive in, or why does this relationship work so well?
Joe, it just works. I think that it just works, and we're proud of the fact that it works. You know, it's there's some times where the reins have to be pulled back on me, I'd admit it, but you know, I think Addington does a good job at that when you know, and Jeff Dickerson does a good job at that too. I've got two guys that are my eyes that see a lot of things that I don't, that can pull me back when they need to. But the other thing is I think that you know, he's got a good aura with the team. All the guys on the whole team respect him, and for all that he knows, for all that he's done in this sport for as many years as he's been around. And that's the same that goes for me too. I respect for what he's accomplished in this sport. Even though it doesn't look like much on paper, I feel like he's definitely done a tremendous job, and obviously he's still doing it here this year.
We've got one more question upstairs, and we'll finish up with two more down here. Upstairs.
JPenel, HardcoreRaceFans.com. Kyle, there at the last part of the race, you were behind the 15. It was smoking a little bit. That worry you at all, seeing that white smoke coming out?
The smoke didn't really worry me. It was just the fact that maybe it would blow up, but that worried me. But I was just trying to get by him as quickly as I could, so then at least I had you know, he was behind me, so when he laid the oil down, I wasn't going to be in it. You know, I remembered Casey Kane here, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, when somebody blew up, laid oil down through 3 and 4. There was like 8 or 15 cars or something that piled up down there, so that kind of came to mind. But just it didn't worry me too much. Just was hoping that I could get by him before things really let go.
Claire Lang, XM Satellite Radio. You just race and everything that you can get behind the wheel of. I'm wondering if you're becoming rich, and if, you know, your financial status has changed, and if you've noticed any of that. What's changed in your life regarding money now that you're winning and racing in all these series?
I can answer that one. He's getting rich.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
The owner's going broke. But
I'm a car owner too, so I spend it. I put it right back to where it's coming from. I'm putting it back into my short track stuff in the short track ranks, and trying to give an up-and-comer a start, you know, and getting him going. So it's not that I just pocket it. It's not that I go out and buy all the cool toys and everything. You know, I put it back into late model racing, and I like going back and doing that stuff too. So I've got some cars for myself and for him that we all go back and race. So it's cool that makes life easier, I guess, and you don't have to worry about going to the gas pumps. But man, I can feel for the economy, that's for sure. You know, just looking back at where I was, you know, back in high school, and thinking about what my living status was to what it is now, it's very easy to become lost in that, and you know, giving back to some of the guys that, and the foundation stuff that I do too. You know, a lot of work there, but you know, it opens my eyes up. So I'm trying to stay grounded with everything that I do there.
No silk suits, no airplane,
no airplane, no silk suits, no silk underwear for that matter. I'm still on the what is it, $3 for 5 or something like that. So no, I'm not showing. But and most of my clothes I'm trying to get for free anyway too.
2 weeks ago, I just want to brag a little bit on Kyle. He had a bunch of kids, probably about 50 of them, over at NASCAR theme park, and there were kids that were underprivileged kids, and it was a great afternoon. Everybody was over there. I really appreciate him, and our Tony does a bunch of stuff, and Denny too. But Kyle, I thought that was an awesome day where he really, those little old guys follow him around like he got a great influence. These guys do. And so I think that's a huge part of what we do in sports. That's a huge thing to live up to. I appreciate that, so I just share that.
We were at NASCAR Speed Park. Joe was there with us, and he was probably getting more G-forces on the ride he was on than the rest of us, where it was this little twirly-do thing that was motorized mechanically. It was like a train. It would just swing him around a corner. We all watching his hair go and then come back down.
Actually, Taylor was driving me crazy. Our 3-year-old, he screamed his brains out. So I took him out. There's nothing I can ride. He wasn't big enough, so I took him over there. I asked the guy to start the thing up, so they get on there. He's flinging me around there. I was actually getting sick. and every time I got him, get ready to get him off, he'd scream his brains out again. So anyway, I had a rough day. It was a rough day for the coach.
Dom.
Coach Gibbs, when Steve was here, you mentioned, well, we just let him go, and that seems to work. Can you relate for us maybe linebackers or running backs or quarterbacks that were that way, guys that you coach and that you figured after a while, you know what, let's just let him go and pull the reins once in a while?
I think that what I would say there is Steve's personality. It's interesting the way they match up, guys. Guys do. The crew chief, that's a tough thing. Crew chief driver. We look around inside in the pit crew in here, how often the guys stay together very long. And they have an unusual relationship because Steve is very laid back, very even. Kyle obviously at times will sound off. And so that's a great combination. Now, having said that, Zippy and Tony, sometimes they're after each other as hard as you can, both of them. Sometimes I'm more worried about Zippy getting on Tony than so. It's interesting how that develops. Mike again is very thoughtful, and Denny is kind of laid back a little bit. So, to your point, athletes are very different. They have very different personalities, but the competitive nature is what some have. Some are gifted and have that competitive nature. I've seen all different kinds of personalities in there. So football guys, I coach Art Monk, he wouldn't say a word. Very, very competitive. Then other guys, Gary Clark would, come off the field, call you a bunch of names and head for, so it's interesting. So you kind of, it's personalities and how you deal with them, and everybody's different. In human nature, what you learn, everybody's different. What's the hot button? How do you get them to do it? And how do you push that right button to get the guy to do it?
We'll finish up with Jerry.
Jerry Bunkowski, Yahoo Sports. Kyle, when Greg was in here earlier, I asked him, when it was obvious he wasn't going to have a chance of catching you, does a driver start admiring what the front runner is doing? He's hitting his marks, doing everything right, and is going to go on to victory. When a guy says he admires you, for the way you win a race, what does that mean to you?
Greg said that. That's pretty cool because Greg, there was pretty good in the beginning. He was awesome, really. I was following him and just couldn't really keep up with him. I mean, he wouldn't step out. He would clear the wall by 3 feet coming off the corners about every time I'd hit it, and wonder how he was doing that. So, I had my admiration for him there in the beginning, but fortunately there at the end we just I think had a little bit better car maybe. We adjusted it right, got it better, and then we were able to capitalize on track position and just got up there. So, doing what you got to do and hitting your marks and doing all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty hard-nosed. I'm trying to think of the right word. I mean, you got to stay focused. You just got to keep your eyes ahead and keep your eyes on the same marks every time that you're going around the track. And the car changes. It's not that you just hit the same marks every time. You've got to start backing off earlier. You've got to start using a little bit more brake, trying to let the car roll around and do all that kind of stuff. So it changes constantly. And what you have to think of is like, ooh, that corner, that was a little too much brake. I can let it roll a little bit further next time. So you keep changing everything the next time around, and you just got to keep judging off the cars around you and what your car's doing and stuff. So it's pretty hard to do, but it's pretty cool for Greg saying that.